Welcome everyone to another exciting weekly show with our Mission Matters Club, where we always host a show covering a wide variety of topics. For those of you that are not familiar, Mission Matters, we are a mass media company focused on the needs of entrepreneurs, executives, experts. Our mission in a nutshell is to highlight and educate future leaders. And the way that we do that is we actually have an entire book publishing division where we published over 200 authors in a wide variety of books. And then we also have an entire podcast agency division in our podcast network where we manage over 150 people on a wide variety of shows here. And so we're very consistent in creating that content. So the format of this is that we basically have this more of like a fireside chat. Like imagine you're sitting at a dinner where, you get to dive into these conversations, and essentially, Adam, my counterpart, who I'm going to introduce in just a second, is going to it's like light moderation. So he'll ask a couple of questions and then other people can chime in and ask questions as well. So pretty loose in terms of structure here. But with that, we always start off, Adam, I'll pass the baton to him, and then he'll just go around the room, have everyone introduce themselves in maybe 20, 30 seconds, and then we'll get the dialogue going. So Adam, why don't you take the baton here?
Thank you, Chirag. And that's a new term, Chirag. I think you're calling me lazy over here. Light moderation? What does that mean? So everybody knows Chirag does the in-person moderation at all of our events. We haven't had one in a little bit because of obviously the pandemic, but sorry, it's light moderation, Chirag.
There's up to the podcast though, right? So
okay, got it. All right, all good. Anyway, so thank you, Chirag, for putting this together for us and for picking the topics and obviously curating, and to all the authors on board for this. Of course, thank you. Let's go around with just introducing ourselves. Let's keep it like 30 seconds or less, just kind of quick, so we can dive right into the discussion because we got a lot on here and we want to kind of get to the meat of it. So, Christy, if you want to start, maybe.
All right, let me find my mute button and microphone. Hi there. Small business, we've heard it's the backbone, right, of economic development. And it's what I've spent the last 25 years supporting entrepreneurs and building tools that really help us get there. So I love this discussion, and I'm really here to learn and listen to the other moderators. Share what I can.
Awesome. Thank you. And so, Matt.
Yep. So my name is Matt Cook. I am the director of agency at Mission Matters. So everything podcast is what I do.
Jeff. Oh, I think Jeff is there. Maybe he's not. Maybe he's listening and driving. We'll move on. Roman.
Hey guys, pleasure to be here. My name is Roman Tsarovsky. I'm the CEO of Ally. We're solving the problems created by DoorDash, Postmates, B24 by basically taking the power back to the merchants and also the drivers, connecting everyone so they can work together. Love small businesses, definitely love helping them during this horrible time in the pandemic. So yeah, glad to be here and discuss possible solutions.
Awesome. Thank you, Roman. JM, good to see you.
Hey there, Adam. How's everybody? I'm Jose Manuel de Jesus. I have a couple of different roles. I am the CEO of Quadrant Q Public Relations, which is a multicultural Latino and African American. I'm multicultural because I do other things too, groups as well. And I am also a certified business advisor at the Small Business Development Center at Lehman College in the Bronx, which is part of CUNY and part of America's Small Business Development Centers.
Awesome. Good to have you, Jam. Janine.
Hi there. I am the CEO of J&J Consulting Group, and what we do is create thriving employee workplaces. So we're all about having the employee experience be wonderful so that then it supports the business and its growth potential. I'm also the host of a podcast called The Cost of Not Paying Attention, where we look at all of the things that businesses, large, small, and otherwise, are not paying attention to, and what the cost is and how to turn that around.
Awesome. Thank you. Ken. Oh, Ken, you there? All right. Ken maybe isn't available at the moment. Jason. Or is it me, maybe? Can everybody hear me? I think so.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, there he is.
I hear you fine,
Yep,
buddy.
we can hear you.
Okay,
Awesome.
Can you hear me? This is Ken.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Hey, glad to be here. Ken Goldberg. I have a company called DSC Trading that has been market participants, investors, and speculators for over 30 years, and advise different groups and attorneys and business leaders on how behavioral finance and crowd psychology might come into play in their businesses.
Thank you, Ken. Jason.
Hello, my name is Jason Shupp. I'm a third generation business owner of a construction company. And recently with Mission Matters have had an opportunity to be one of the authors in their books. And I'll be launching a podcast called From There to Here with Mission Matters next month. And excited to hear and participate with this conversation.
Awesome. Looking forward to it, Jason. And Jessie.
Hey.
All right, we are talking agents, Jessie. Where have you been? Talked to your business partner the other day. He's awesome. I'll be quiet. Please introduce yourself, sir.
Of course he's awesome. Anyone associated with me is awesome, and that's how I introduce myself. I am an awesome CPA, not because of the awesome work I do. I'm just great. I'm not your typical CPA. So that's what I do. It's been 6 years on my own, and I am now coaching other CPAs who are sitting in their cubicle in public accounting. They have a book of clients secretly on the side, and they're just waiting for the nerve to tell their boss, kiss my ass and leave, and, just kind of help them throughout the process, because I know very well it's still fresh in the back of my mind. So if you guys know anyone like that, that's what I'm working on, and I am excited. It's a chapter in our business, coaching.
Oh, that's awesome. I was like, oh, Jessie's in a mood today. That's awesome.
Oh, I'm in a good mood.
Oh, this is good. That's good. By the way, just side note for everyone. So I learned this the other day, and I'm getting better at this. So when you see somebody like hitting the mic on and off kind of quickly, that's clapping in Clubhouse. I guess that's etiquette. So just throwing that out there. If you wonder why I was going like this kind of frantically, that's how we clap.
Great. Thanks for sharing.
There you go. We learn every day. Clubhouse etiquette. So let's get the topic going, I guess. Put it out there to the group. So top 5 life-saving tools for small business. I mean, who wants to start off? What's a tool? What's a tool that can't live without in business?
Okay, so I'm going to dive in. I joined this Clubhouse conversation early because I'm so excited about this 7-stack strategic planning canvas that we've developed here. And the option for small business owners to play like the giants and really do some key strategic planning is the tool that I'm most excited about, because it really puts them as the head and not the tail.
Awesome. Who else? And we'll go deeper into these tools, by the way, but who else? Who else has some input?
So I've had really good experience with time saving. It took me a very, very, very long time to actually release the control I wanted to have, but there's a virtual assistant platform called Apprentice that provides virtual assistants that is in a really unique way of how they do it. They focus on SOPs, documentation, and then execution. So it really took me a little bit of time to really kind of sit down, record all of the videos, and then send it to them so they can document it. But I started off with one virtual assistant. They are located in the Philippines, but after that, I now have 6, and I can't tell you how much time it's saved me.
I'll contribute one before we kind of push further. So I feel like the CRM for us, I mean, Zoho we've used different CRMs and other things like that. And I mean, I'm not preference-wise technology. I'm not claiming I'm the best, but for sure. But I just feel like having a CRM in general and some form of data collection there, I mean, that's been game-changing for our business, I would argue, over the long haul. Joanna, welcome.
Thank you. Sorry I'm late.
All good. If you want to introduce yourself and dive right in. All the first question, by the way, we just started. First question, so please introduce yourself. And then first question, if you care to tackle it, is like, what's a tool? Like, throw out a tool for the group.
Okay, so Joanna Pineda, CEO and Chief Troublemaker at Matrix Group, a digital agency based out of Arlington, Virginia. We do websites, mobile apps, virtual meetings, and man, life-saving tool for small businesses. I got a lot of tools. I want to hear what other people consider tools, but I'll tell you, for me, life-saving is, and you've heard me say this before, Chirag, is Google Calendar.
I'm going to jump in. I'm going to add to what Joanna said, and I do believe the best thing you can do for yourself is get organized and get very selfish with your time. Everything, get all the technology that could help you. Before I made my first hire, I made sure I had all the applications and stuff that I could do things for, like even going back and forth with someone trying to figure out a time. I always like to say, hey, I have for free time, give them 2 times, and if none of those times work for you, here's my calendar link, as opposed to going back and forth. Just any little thing that could help me make my job easier, make my time. A CRM is one of the best things. I have a CRM for everything. As an accountant, I wish it would combine everything. But even for people that I am approaching with sales or people I have spoken to, if I've spoken to you, you're in my CRM. I'm going to follow up with you. I have notes in there. Because as you grow, you want to set everything up as if you are that company that you want to be. So when I was only making $100,000 in my first year, I set stuff up as if I'm making $500,000, because growth comes and it comes and you're never going to be prepared, but try your best to be prepared with certain applications and tools. I no longer answer my phone. I'm not going to hire a salesperson to answer the phone. You have those stuff like Jill's office and stuff like that. So that frees up my time. I'm very calendar driven. If it's not on a calendar, it doesn't happen. You just organization, and any tool that helps you get organized is one of the best tools to save time. And I'm just going to give one more and wrap it up. The second tool I tell people, which relates to time, stop multitasking. If you want to take care of something, block out time in your calendar, 30 minutes to an hour, and get it done. Don't take a call. Don't look at emails. Don't look at texts. Turn everything off and just get it done. And you will save so much time doing it. You'll get so much done, too.
Yeah, I want to jump in on that. So I know for myself, I use Calendly a lot, and I had to go back into my Calendly settings and look at, okay, why are we going to meet and what kind of a priority is that? So if you want to hire me, it's going to be way easier for you to find time in my calendar than if you want to network with me. And I limit those sort of networking meetings to no more than 1 a day and no more than 4 a week. And you can do those kinds of settings in Calendly. And I realized, because I was letting people schedule my time, I was getting overwhelmed by my own calendar. And so I needed to create some new parameters and some new limits on all of that. And it has truly changed the way that my days and weeks go.
Can you hear me, Adam? I'd like to jump in.
Oh, yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, Jeff.
I was having audio issues. I've been here the whole time. Hi, it's Jeff Norskog, Director of Publishing at Mission Matters. Nice to see some friendly faces and some new faces. What a great topic. You asked me to come in with some light participation today, so I'm going to do my best, just like Adam's light moderation. Yeah, I mean, just jumping on what was just mentioned, Janine, I mean, Calendly is a game changer for me. But yes, just like all of this technology, if you're not careful, it can turn on you and take over your life. Before you know it, when we used to have more control over our schedules, we were a little bit more conscientious. I found the same thing, whether it's, Google or whatever the piece of technology is, it's really about digging into it and getting into the nuance so that you can have as much control around it. But certainly, I mean, somebody mentioned Google Calendar. I mean, all of the Google Drive is a game changer for us. I mean, we're all working on the same document simultaneously. For those of us who are maybe went to university before the internet, the amount of time it used to take to work on a collective document in a strategic process. I mean, it was insane. So yes, this technology is super exciting. I mean, I'll say this, I've had, since I joined Adam and Chirag, I've laughed learning a lot of new tricks, and yeah, they've really figured out how to integrate kind of all of the technology into a system that works. And then I have one really inefficient technique that I lean into like once a day, And I just call up Adam and ask him how to do something, and that works pretty well too.
It's a full vicious cycle. But Google Workspace is, if you're a small business out there, that is the platform you have to set up your email off of it, and then you get all of your cloud-based products to go along with it. Like you said, Google Drive, Calendar, I mean, even Meet, you don't even need to necessarily purchase Zoom or even have a free Zoom account. Like, you can utilize these different tools by Google. But another big one, if you're into project management or if you're managing any type of processes, Monday.com is an absolute game changer. It's the #1 project management tool that is out there. I have tested everything from Asana to, I mean, I can go down a list. I just blanked right after I said Asana, but there's numerous, and I had been searching over and over and over again for a tool that really could get our podcast agency dialed in, organized, and have all of the processes so that you can see what employees are doing, what they're working on, how much time it's taking them. It really is just an overall efficient tool that I highly recommend to anybody, once again, working in processes or any type of project management. It is an absolute game changer. So between Google Workspace to Monday.com, I mean, you can basically run an entire business off of those two platforms alone, because Monday can also be a CRM tool. We don't utilize it for that purpose. As Adam mentioned, we utilize Zoho CRM, which is fantastic. But again, just based off of those two, Google Workspace and Monday.com.
I think that's great technologies. All of these are great tools. I'm thinking Canva is a revolution in terms of tools. But let me take you guys back to the beginning here. I mean, I'm not going to go for 5, but I think the 3 top tools, or that could be life-saving tools for any business, are, in my mind, #1, working capital and cash flow. #2, good marketing to drive sales. And #3, a business plan. So the things that I think really help out when you're really striking out.
I love that you pointed to those, JM, and Christy was here and then she went away. But what she was talking about in terms of creating your strategic plan, whatever you want to call it, business plan, strategic plan, a road map for your organization for how you're going to get from here to where you want to go. As somebody who has been a consultant for now 6.5 years, I've had the opportunity to facilitate a number of these strategic planning processes for organizations. And the worst thing is when you create this magnificent plan and then it becomes either something that gets put up on the shelf or becomes a doorstop. And so creating a document that is a living document where you can track how you're doing towards milestones, where you can really track what you want to be accomplishing, and if you've got somebody who can help hold you accountable to those goals, I think that kind of planning can be revolutionary for an organization, to really be thinking about how are we going to get from where we are now to where we want to go.
Agreed. And also, what are we about? What's our company about? Who are we? What do we really do? All those questions get answered in a plan. Halfway decent. Yeah.
I work with organizations a lot around diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. And when they come to me and they say, hey, we want to do something, usually what they say is we want to do something around diversity. My first question is, okay, well, great. Why? And if the answer is some version of, well, because we think we should, or it's the right thing to do, or we need to do that in order to get a grant, or some version of that, I say, don't take it on. This is, taking on diversity is an organizational commitment, and it should matter to your mission as an organization, or you're not going to be able to devote the time and the resources and the energy to actually make anything meaningful happen. And the #1 reason that people are leaving organizations right now in the Great Resignation is because organizations aren't doing anything meaningful around diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. MIT just came out with a study that points to that says that very clearly. It's the #1 reason that people are leaving. And so if it doesn't matter to your mission as an organization, don't do it. And that goes with any initiative that an organization might take on, if it doesn't connect to who you are, don't do that thing.
Hey, I want to chime in with some tools. So I mentioned Google Calendar. I agree with you all about CRM. We use HubSpot, absolutely life-changing because of the ability to manage the tasks. And, you put in a name and a domain and it pulls in all this information, and I can see kind of, what my sales pipeline is. But we also use Jira on the kind of the task management, and that is just amazing for managing projects, and the staff really, really love it. G Suite for sure. I think it was, someone said the ability to collaborate on documents. It used to be that we would pass around just giant PowerPoints, and today there'll be 5 people working on a set of slides and we'll be done in 45 minutes, something that would have taken, maybe a couple weeks passing it around. And then the last thing I would say that's life-saving for us is we have a KPI document that gets updated pretty much regularly, but then is looked at pretty closely once a month. And what we do is we have a rolling 12-month of KPIs so that we have a whole year, and we track revenue, we track expenses, we track cash, we track revenue per staff person, we track a whole bunch of other stuff. And I don't think that I could run my business without my KPI, document, because my revenue might be up, but all of a sudden my cash is down because clients are slow paying me, and that which is happening now. And so that tells me something's up. And if I didn't have the KPIs to see kind of the trend line over the last, rolling 12 months, I wouldn't be able to see the trend. Anyway, the KPIs even let us keep track of like a bench per staff person, for example. So I think that's probably my last and maybe one of my most important tools that isn't from another company.
I'll jump in. So I actually wrote down my 5. So I gave you 2 already. I'll give you 2 others. I had a coach say to me that I need to I'm a CPA. So sometimes creativity is not always something that comes easy to us. And are typical if you look at the stereotypes, right? So at the end of the year, maybe in October, more the last quarter of the year, I focus on goals, and I'll probably take a vacation where I could sit with myself and be quiet and be still. And I look at 5 things in my life, in my career, what have you, that I want to improve on. And, you pick big goals, maybe you want to attain a year or 5 years from now or in 6 months. And goals turn into when someone mentioned the strategy, because yes, I have this goal, but it's just a dream until I actually start working towards it, and that's where strategies and systems come into place. So, if my goal is to increase sales, then what do I need to do today to make that goal? And, I have to kind of come up with a formula and a system and a strategy in which to do so. And then once I do that, I have to track everything. Like Joanna was saying, like I track everything down to what I put in my mouth, my water. I track my sales. If I spoke to someone, and I use HubSpot too, if I spoke to someone twice, I know the cost of an actual call if I was to close that deal. So if I was to hire a sales rep, I could compare them against myself. I literally track everything. Every goal that I have, it needs to be SMART goals. And I'm sure everyone's familiar with SMART goals. It has to be measurable. And if I want to improve these things, I have to be able to track it. So, I do sit there once a year and I dream big, and I look at things, and I call it, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm really the boss. So I'm having a partner's retreat, if you will, with myself. And I'm really trying to seek things that will make me as a whole better. And I'm a true Libra in the sense that if one thing is off in my life, it throws everything off. So, and I need to show up at work. I can't go to work and be there and just be present. I have to be focused. So whatever I'm feeding myself, physical food, or what I'm seeing on social media, who I invite into my space, does affect my space and how I show up every day. So I'm very mindful of that, so everything has to connect. So I really do sit with myself, and I seek out things that I want to do. And I think when you make goals and you put strategies and you measure them, I think that is something that is very powerful for any business owner. And that's one of the 2 tips that I have out of my 5. And I'll save my last one for later.
I was just going to say, some of you guys, the room got me thinking kind of with a broader approach to goals, and some talk about, the Great Resignation and the changing workspace. And I think the interesting part, and I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, is that we're going to have to develop new tools because the paradigm has changed. And I was talking to him about his company had all been in one space, and now it's basically virtual. And I was talking about the benefits and challenges. And he was saying that retaining employees was more difficult for a variety of reasons, but one of them because you don't get to know anyone. When somebody's in an office every day, there's a stickiness to it. And it made me start thinking, that we're hiring people, we're going to hire people that we maybe, don't meet. We don't say hi in the morning. We don't enjoy a cup of coffee. There's all of the personal piece is missing. So when it comes to do I want to change companies, that decision is much more linear. And I was thinking we're going to have to develop tools, to address some of these issues that are new. Like, how do we create culture? How do we create family? How do we create that stickiness with the people that we work with when we don't have some of the tools that we've historically had? So I think we're going to be, I guess my thought is that we're going to need to be developing new tools to kind of address the dynamic changes that are happening in the workplace as well.
For me, being a business owner, one of the things that I found most valuable is my time and really kind of maximizing it. We were talking about Google Calendar and organization Asana and Monday.com and HubSpot and all of these tools. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to maximizing the time that we have to make the biggest impact. So I feel like any tool, and there's so many tools in all of these different categories that help with that. We've touched base on a few. I think with this growing world of social media, I wanted to throw out one that I've used and my team has used that's greatly helped us save a lot of time on research in the social aspect is Hootsuite. I don't know if anyone here has had experience with it, but the tools that they provide you to listen to keywords, your brand, your audience, interact with it. They're missing some platforms. The kids nowadays are on TikTok, but the main ones are still there, and it's saved a lot of time.
Right. Throwing a question out there. Is there anything that somebody's looking for? Just in general, that they'd like a recommendation from that maybe we haven't talked about or anything like that, something that you've been, shopping for. It could be software, technology, service. I mean, just in general, anything that anybody's looking for here.
The meaning to life?
Oh, I think you already got that one.
Oh, yeah.
It's Chirag's Clubhouse events. We already know that, Roman. Come on.
The meaning to life. I have a book for you to read to figure that out.
I have a running theory that the meaning of life is happiness. I have been looking at myself and the actions and all actions and decisions that we make, even if it doesn't bring you happiness, you at least do it because you think it might. So
that is it. I mean, I'm not a guru, but I'm telling you, I feel that I'm reading this book called, I read it already, I'm reading it again. It's called, oh my God, Think Like a Monk. You guys are all probably familiar with Jay Shetty. And, if you look at how a monk lives his life, it's very simple and nothing really bothers them. They could meditate in chaos, and it's simple and they're just happy. And when I've done some of the practices he mentioned in the book, I'm just a happier person. I don't think anyone could spoil my mood. I don't think anything right now could spoil my mood. It's just it's just appreciation for life. And even when things, I get bad news, I'm like, look, man, I've heard worse. It is what it is. It'll pass, and nothing phases me. And I have to remember that. Not everyone has that outlook in life. So if someone says to me, hey, I got let go, I'm happy for them. I'm like, good, you didn't like that job anywhere. Congratulations. Now the universe just told you that you didn't need to be there. So now you have time. Go do what you really wanted to do. And that doesn't always go over well. So I think just being happy in any situation with yourself is one of the best things I think life has. So if you could find that out, I think this is a really good thing to have.
I agree with that so violently.
Why do any of us want to be entrepreneurs? Why would we want to be entrepreneurs if it wasn't for the freedom that the financial gain brings, the long-term sustainability of it brings to our lives? You know, it takes that revenue to be free in this world where nothing is free. But I think freedom is the main reason why I'm an entrepreneur. And happiness comes, I decide that I'm going to be happy.
So, Adam, I don't think any of us are searching for anything to answer your question.
Well, we don't know what we want.
I know. I'm sitting here trying to think. I feel like there's something weird. Well, Matt solved the project management one on Monday. That was a big one. I'm just trying to think what else we need.
I must agree with Matt.
One on Monday. What system did he recommend?
Monday.
Project? No, Monday. Yeah, he built
Matt,
it out.
can I call you about Monday because I'm looking.
That's a good program.
See, I told you, people are looking. That's what I know. We're going from the helpful side, but this is a safe place here. Like, people are looking. Matt what he's done with Monday.com, it changed what we were able to do, period. And that was hard. I put it this way, I can use it, which I don't know. I'm not the best at that stuff, but yeah, I can even use it.
But what do you guys use for the rest of the week?
It is that does not get old, by the way. Every Monday I'm like, oh man, I know it's coming, but it works.
I don't know about the branding.
I think Monday is just as good as a sign. I'll tell you that right now. I see no difference. And let me tell you something. If there is
Jessie, I gotta disagree.
No, but listen. This is what I would say, right?
I've used both extensively. Yeah.
Right, but here's the thing. When one system is better than the other, guess what? The other is gonna latch on very quickly. And it's the same like Apple and whatever the other competitor is. Like, the other one is always better. Apple sucks, but we buy Apple because of brand. So Apple is always going to come out with it after the fact, and I think that's what these softwares do. Like, everyone's trying to sell me on different software, but when I check them out and I pick the other one, and eventually end up adapting and updating stuff, and then okay, so now I got the feature. So that's how I look at these softwares.
Sure, I think we might have a topic for next week. I think we might have Monday. We might have a face-off, a software duel.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Recorded on a Monday.
Matt, are you?
Matt's ability to use Monday.
Matt, are you familiar with Jira?
Yes.
So we're struggling with Jira because, like, Jira feels like it's much more for dedicated teams. And since I'm agency, I have people who maybe are, doing 2 or 3 projects at once. So then, like, if we've got boards set up for each project, it's much more difficult for them to, to kind of manage their list. I also I don't have a mechanism within Jira to send out like big project updates. You can only just kind of communicate at the task level.
Yep.
Well, Jira is usually meant for developers.
Exactly. I was
Right.
about to say that's actually where my experience comes in with it, is actually working with developers on technology projects, and it is very much catered to that app development or coding, whereas Monday or even Asana, for instance, like, you have much more functionality outside of that sphere, so to speak. And with Monday in particular, the reason why I do disagree versus Jessie is that what they've been able to do with just building out and creating templates within their system, it's blown everything else away, to where Asana used that a ton. And I even looked at that for our agency when we were going through kind of breaking down, and I had to go in and figure out which one is going to be the best for us. And then I realized within that process that Monday had gone above and beyond when it came to just functionality and the ability to anything that you need to do within a process, you can create within Monday. It really has become almost like you just type in for a template for whatever it is that you're looking to do, and there's going to be some template there that is built out exactly how you want it. Adam will even tell you, we utilized Trello in the beginning because it was something that I pushed Adam to do way back 5 years ago, and I was a huge fan because Kanban boards and all of the different types of organization that you can put into play, it really became a very clear that Monday had surpassed them. So for me to move off of Trello, even that was a big one. Adam will tell you that I was a very big fan of Trello for a very long time. And then moving into Monday, and I've had a love-hate relationship with Monday because I've used it prior as well within another technology company.
Hey, can I ask you a question? When you set it up, did you have a consultant help you set it up, or did you guys just dive in? Like, how did you develop practices, for using it?
It's a great question, and it is something to where I dove into it. I guess I would claim that I am relatively tech savvy to where if I jump into a software, I normally figure out within a day as to how to get things set up within it. And then if I can't, that goes to show that it's not a very intuitive product. But I did everything outside of Monday. Did speak with a consultant over there. We set up a meeting to see if we wanted to move even further into enterprise and bring in other aspects of our business and so forth. So they can be very helpful in that, especially if you're enterprise level or have that type of package with them. That can be an area in which they can help you build that out. But they've almost become, to this point, like what Salesforce did in CRM, although I hesitate to even say that name because Salesforce became so much of a platform that it became impossible to do on your own. You needed to hire somebody. So Monday, very much so, is very intuitive. It's very easy. And again, you type in a template of what you want to accomplish or what type of project you're working on or what type of process. And there's templates within there that help you at least get the start to it. And then from there, you can build off of that and really make it your own for whatever process and the steps that go into that and the different teams that are involved. One of the other things that I will mention, not to make this a long rant, but is that because you have the ability to tie in so many different templates of different styles, that you can utilize it throughout an entire organization. So it's not specific to software development, like we said around Jira. It is very much so that you can encompass every aspect to your business and tie that in. So, and going back to Jeff's point, as to just the collaborative ability within like Google Workspace, the same thing goes on within Monday, to where if you have different departments working on different projects and they may overlap slightly, you're going to have that visibility and the ability for those teams to communicate on that platform. That's one of the big reasons why I love it, because as we scale, it becomes very helpful to have that communication, not only within the podcast agency, but also within other aspects of our business.
So I feel that Asana does a lot of the stuff that you mentioned, but the problem with Asana is to get a lot of that functionality and templates and things of that nature, you have to upgrade to their highest tier. And just for the people out there who use Asana, I actually found a trick that you can get all of those benefits for your team without having to pay for it. So the way Asana charges, and might be cool for large teams on a budget. So Asana only charges for the main domain name. So you can just buy a domain name, set up Google email on there, sign up with that, and then for all of the other users, invite them under a different email address, and they will not be charged. So you can just essentially pay for one user, invite a whole bunch of other users to it, and basically everyone gets the same benefit, and you're only charged for one user.
Hopefully they didn't hear this podcast.
Come on, I like a good hack now and then. Come on.
No, that is great. I love it. Roman, great work there.
So I'd like to go back to the CRM conversation. I'm struggling. I got HubSpot, and I, paid it a little bit of money to have it be a higher level platform. And I can't import my contact list into it. I've tried like 4 times. I've had people from HubSpot try and help me with it. It's the most frustrating experience I've ever had, and with technology. And I'm wondering if anybody has had that kind of experience and then used Zoho or something else that they found to be a much easier integration with all your current contacts.
Hey, so what did HubSpot say was the problem and why the import wasn't working?
Honestly, I don't remember. It's a very good question.
Have you tried throwing your computer against the wall?
Wow. Wow.
No, but I have wanted to try that strategy.
Well, I use HubSpot. I've never had that issue, you know, and I'm sorry you're having that issue, but I think you have to start yelling and getting people on the phone because, especially if you're paying for it, because the sales, you know, there's two huge platforms, the sales and then there's the marketing. I don't particularly love their marketing. I will not be signing up again for their marketing, but I did their sales side for free for a good year or so, and then try the marketing, and I don't think it's that great. I like Active Campaign more for the marketing, so I don't know if you're uploading it for the sales side or the marketing side.
Honestly, I'm just trying to upload it to be able to track some people better and to, you know, be able to remember, okay, who is this person and how did I meet them?
Mhm.
And when do I need to loop back around with them again?
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff.
They should have helped you, especially if you pay. There should have been an onboarding process, and they should be able to literally hold your hand and do it. So I would say get feisty and start.
Up and down a little more.
Yeah, start yelling. I get away with a lot of stuff when I start yelling, and you know I start very calm. Like, look, this is not acceptable. It's your software. You don't know how to help me. Like, so what am I paying for?
Right.
Well, I get to Twitter if I have to. So go. You know, good luck.
Thank you.
So really what you're saying is a helpful tool for small businesses is to start yelling and then if not, scale it to social media.
Absolutely. I tell you what,
Or hiring Jessie as your host to go yell at people for you.
I told you it was okay.
What did your yelling services go for, Jessie?
The first call is free. And we'll talk about prices later. It's like drugs. I'm gonna hook you with the free stuff first, and yeah. I mean, this is a perfect example. I had to speak to a doctor because, you know, these doctor's office, they have a team and no one talks to each other. So I was like, look, I need to speak to my doctor. Let's get a teleconference going on. Oh, sure, not a problem. We'll get it for you. 2 weeks. They couldn't book me for 2 weeks. And I said, absolutely, I cannot wait 2 weeks to speak to my doctor. If you guys schedule me at 7 a.m., let's make it happen. I had a call within 3 days. So it's like that pressure, but nicely, not nasty. But I've perfected it through the years. So I do it for clients too. I'm like, you know, with vendors. Like, no, we're not going to pay you every time you send us an invoice. We pay a lot of people, and this is a system. If you get it in before this date, we'll pay you on this date. That's how we do business. And if you don't like it, I don't know what to tell you.
I love you.
And is that first call, and that's first call free, is it per email address, per the Roman method? I just want to know, because I'm...
Roman is a character.
Happy to help.
Well, folks, I'm going to jump off. I have a hard stop at 7:55, so I wanted to thank everybody.
Yeah, and looking at the time, we normally do keep these about an hour. That being said, if anybody hasn't, thank you, Jam. If anybody else has any other kind of last words or wisdom or questions or anything else, you probably get them all out now.
I think one tool that wasn't really discussed, and I'm reluctant to use that term, I'd prefer the term asset, is people. I'm a big advocate for surrounding myself with experts and advisors. And I'm sure most of us have, you know, our banker and our attorney and our accountant and whatnot as part of that advisory group for those select services. But taking it one step farther to advisory boards, having a dedicated, you know, team, whether it's a person or a couple people, depending on the size of your operation, that really collaborates with typically it's with the CEO, you know, sometimes with a couple people on the executive team, and really give you that support, but also that really challenge you, because a lot of times, you know, when you're you know at the top of the ladder, you oftentimes don't get challenged. You know, even if you're consulting with your other advisors, are ultimately, you know, getting paid to assist you, but having resources that are really dedicated to challenge you, support you, an actual sounding board, which is oftentimes hard because, again, in the C-suite, you know, it's actually a fairly lonely room. And I think even for small businesses, you know, the concept of an advisory board is still very relevant. There's ways to scale those that make sense and are financially, you know, feasible. They're not just tools for large corporations, but I've had them be very valuable in my experience, both, you know, transitioning from the second generation and then even having to sort some stuff out that we've had in the third generation. But yeah, people, the best tool.
Some of them are tools, yeah.
Yeah. Well, yes. But none of my advice.
Yeah, what's it called in this world? And I think that's where social, when I mentioned like time and the Hootsuite example for social is the world's getting smaller. We're getting connected to people around the world. You have tools like Zoom. Zoom's amazing in regards to communication and collaboration. There's probably other tools out there that accomplish the same thing, but I agree 100%. Networking people, interacting with people not only next to you, but around the world, it is very, very important. And yeah, so I couldn't agree more that people are very, very important.
Awesome.
That's a huge part of what we do as an organization, is help organizations with their people challenges. Amen to all of that.
All right, Chirag, you want to do the closing for us? So I guess I'll let you do your light closing. I'll just thank everyone for coming today. I know next Thursday we will have the next one. So 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Had a great showing today. I'm not sure the exact topic next week, but I'm sure Chirag will be emailing that out. So appreciate everybody showing up, and I look forward to the next one. So thank everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Good night.
Bye-bye.